This is KNX In Depth, along with Charles Feldman. I'm Mike Simpson.
Later on, we're going to look at some very interesting research that links violent crime rates and heart health in major cities. And at the end of today's show, Joe Manchin once again leaves his fellow Republicans high and dry.
Right now, though, the UK is issuing heat warnings for the weekend into next week. Temperatures could reach and go beyond 100 degrees. Same situation across much of northern Europe, places that don't usually get that hot, even in summertime. Most buildings in northern France and Germany, no air conditioning. Andrew Desler directs the Texas Center for Climate Change at Texas A&M. Andrew, thanks for being here. So when we say into next week, this is a prolonged thing for them.
Yeah, no, I mean, temperatures are high everywhere. We're going to have a big heat wave in the United States, and Europe looks really blisteringly hot.
But, and it's not just a one-time thing, because the real issue is that they're having, and we're having, more of these extended heat waves.
Right. I mean, the issue is we're warming the globe up. I mean, we've been studying this problem for 150 years, and as scientists, we've been warning everybody, if we keep dumping carbon into the atmosphere, this is what's going to happen, and it's happening. And this is just a small preview of the future. Let me be clear about this. We've had about 2 degrees Fahrenheit of warming so far over pre-industrial conditions, and it's going to get a lot worse than that. We're on track for much more warming. So if you don't like this, I have some very bad news for you about the rest of your life.
Yeah. Do you think people are getting attuned to this idea? Are we starting to realize?
Well, I think a lot of people are having the oh crap moment where they realize, wow, this is really bad. I mean, when it's 110 degrees outside, you're a prisoner in your house and you're running your air conditioner. It's costing you a lot of money. I do think, though, that, 35% of the American electorate, they view climate change through a tribal lens, where they show their loyalty to their tribe by talking about how they don't believe in climate change. And, the U.S. Senate is really polarized and keeping us from doing action. And I just have to point out, there was a hilarious Freudian slip in the introduction where they said Joe Manchin left his fellow Republicans high and dry. That is just priceless. I am going to cut that out and tweet that out endlessly.
Yeah, I wonder if part of the problem, Andrew, is that people kind of have a hard time, they keep hearing about we've raised the temperature globally, you just mentioned it, 2 degrees. And I think a lot of people probably go, oh, 2 degrees, what's the big deal? But it doesn't mean what people think it means.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. So, when I give talks on climate change, the first thing I tell them just about is that the last ice age was 10 degrees cooler. So if you cool the climate by 10 degrees Fahrenheit, you end up with an ice age. Sea levels 300 feet lower, thousands of feet of ice over North America. So what we're talking about here is we're talking about warming this century that's comparable to that amount. Maybe not, not 10 degrees, but maybe 5 degrees Fahrenheit, 6 degrees, 7 degrees Fahrenheit. If that happens, it is going to literally remake the surface of the Earth. I mean, people have no idea what we're up against.
Do you think we're going to get it together?
I wish I knew the answer to that. I mean, the thing that gives me hope is that we're, in addition to being on the brink of climate disaster, we're also on the brink of an energy revolution. We're living through an energy revolution. Today, wind and solar are the cheapest energy sources we have. People are shocked when they hear that. And 3 years ago, that wasn't true, but the price of wind and solar is dropping so fast that it is now the cheapest energy source. And so if you look at a state like my state of Texas, the vast majority of new energy being installed is wind and solar. It's mainly solar at this point. I do think that really could, that's what gives me hope. Now, what concerns me is the massive power of the fossil fuel industry to try to stop the market from basically phasing fossil fuels out. And as you said, Joe Manchin and his fellow Republicans, they're going to fight tooth and nail to try to protect fossil fuels, and that really is, I think, the most disturbing failure mode that I see, because the market is going to wipe out fossil fuels if we just let it.
Andrew Desler directs the Texas Center for Climate Change, Texas A&M. We love a Freudian slip. Sometimes it just happens.
But I like this mansion in his fellow Republican.